Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience. I'm here tonight with something a little different than any video I've done before. This is basically about budget audiophile systems. And by system, what I mean is a combination of a DAC, an amp, and a headphone. And by budget, what I mean is something in a price range of under $500 total for the three pieces. I'm going to be starting at $155 with this video and working through up to the $500 mark and cutting it off at that point, because that's kind of where I feel that you're getting into mid-fi instead of budget. Before I get into my video, I did want to give a quick update on my Bell's palsy situation. Anybody that's been following my videos, you know that about 6 weeks ago I got hit by a severe case of Bell's palsy and lost all the muscle control in the right side of my face, and took about 3 weeks off. But then because of many requests and a lot of support from my viewers, I went back to doing videos, and I think I've put out 6 now. And but it has been a little while. It's been 10 days since I've done a video. I just realized that, and I was actually working on my next full review, one that's about 6 weeks overdue now. I was working on it at the time I got hit by Bell's palsy, and that's my full review of the LSA Hyperdrive 2 amp. You can see sitting over here on the side. It's a hybrid tube and solid state amp, and I actually did a first impressions of it about 3 months ago, and way past due for my full review. But I kind of had to start over on that, because it's hard to take 6 weeks away from a review and jump back into it. So I started over, comparing it to some other amps, and I'm just about ready to do my full review on that, but not quite. And I noticed tonight that it's been 10 days since I did a video, so I figured I would just kind of throw a bonus video in. And so I'm going to do one about budget equipment, and because I know I do a lot of reviews of mid-fi and higher end equipment, and not a whole lot on the budget end. And really, you know, there's more people that are interested in budget equipment than there are the higher end stuff. So anyway, but I was saying about the Bell's palsy, I'm still a long way from recovered. It's been 6 weeks. For the first 3 weeks I didn't make any progress at all. And when I did my last video, I think I was probably had about 20-25% of my motion, my muscle control back at that time. And I think I've made a little more progress. I'm probably at about 35% now. So can move my eyebrow a little bit better, a little bit more motion, can smile a little bit now. Not normal, but you know, still really crooked. But anyway, so but getting into my video, the first thing I wanted to define is what I mean by audiophile sound. And basically, to me, what that means is a sound that is neutral and balanced. No serious emphasis on anything like, you know, the bass, or you know, just kind of a neutral, even sound, and a headphone and equipment that covers the entire frequency response. What's audible to humans, which would be starting at 20 hertz all the way up to 20,000 hertz. If it's not covering the full spectrum, I don't consider it audiophile equipment. And the main thing is just something, a headphone amp DAC, that's going to reproduce the recording in an accurate way and make it sound the way it was intended by the recording studio, the artist, the way they wanted it to sound. And like I said, no heavy emphasis on bass or anything like that, just kind of a neutral sound. So, and then by budget, like I said, I'm going to stay under $500 for a complete system with this video, and that does not include your source. You will need a source, rather, that, you know, is your computer or your streaming or whatever. They won't include that, but it will include a DAC and headphone amp, because it's from my experience, any headphone jack in a computer, whether it be a laptop or a desktop or a headphone jack on a tablet or something like that, is just not going to provide audiophile level sound. You're going to have a lot of background noise, usually hiss. You're going to not have enough power to adequately supply your headphone with the power they need to reproduce the deeper bass notes, that sort of thing. So I'm going with a system, and it could either be a separate DAC and amp, or it could be an amp DAC combination, and there's a lot of them in the budget price category. Some are, you know, there's some amp DAC combinations that are actually into the high end of equipment, like, say, take this Burson sitting next to me here, the Burson Conductor 3 reference, which goes for about $1,750. That's actually, you know, into the entry end of high-end equipment, and very respectable. So there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with combining a DAC and amp into the same unit. It can hold the price down a little bit and get you in a price category you want. So what I'm going to do with this video is give you some recommendations of things that I've used and reviewed, and I'm going to start with at the very bottom with a system that I've spent a while listening to the other day, and was really surprised that it sounds as good as it does. And what that system consisted of is this tiny little amp DAC here. This is made by Audiophile Audio, and it's called the Uno, and this is an amp and DAC combination, and it sells for $79. Okay, it only has a USB input, so you've got to, you know, you can hook it to your computer, your laptop, your tablet, your phone, or whatever with a USB cable. But this is going to, it's got its own built-in digital to analog converter, which to me sounds very clean, very detailed, no audible background noise at all, and a very respectable amp that will even do a decent job with most planar magnetic headphones. So I was listening to this little tiny $79 amp DAC plugged into with a USB cable to my desktop computer, and I was using Windows Media Player to play CDs that I had ripped in my computer in lossless, I guess it would be WAV format, lossless format, and using Windows 10 Media Player. And I was using this set of headphones right here. This is the Philips SHP 9500. Okay, it's my understanding that this headphone is no longer in production and has been replaced with the 9600, which sells for about the same price. Okay, this headphone I think originally retailed at $80, and the SHP 9600 I think is $80 or $85, and I have not heard the newer version, the 9600, but I've spent a lot of time listening to the 95, and I haven't heard that they're drastically different. I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it's worse, so from what I've heard. So anyway, but this headphone is still available. I was looking, and this is still available on Amazon, and I'm talking about new, not used units, but still new in the box. Amazon and several other places are selling this for $75. So it's $75 for this and $79 for this. You're at like $155 total for an amp DAC and a headphone that I think sound very respectable. And I just want to very briefly get into the idea of diminishing returns. And basically what that means is that if you take, say, a $200 system and you bump up to like $1,000, 5 times the price, it's not going to be 5 times as good. It may be twice as good, or if you jump from 1,000 to 5,000, once again, it's not going to be 5 times as good. It may be twice as good. And basically, the rule of diminishing returns that I've heard, and I think I pretty much agree with this, is that you've got to double the price of your equipment to gain about 10% in performance. So if you listen to a system like this, okay, $155, DAC, amp, and headphone, it's going to be better than you probably think it's going to be. If you haven't listened to any high-end headphone equipment at all, you're probably going to be amazed by how good it does sound. And yes, you know, you go up to, say, a $500 budget, it's going to be better, but it's not going to be a huge drastic amount. I mean, yeah, it might be twice as good. It, might be 50% better. It's going to be better, but the jump isn't as great as you think. This stuff isn't junk. These $200, $300, $500 systems are very respectable and will give you a respectable sound quality. And, when I got into this, I was listening to like a $500 headphone. And I soon realized that that was considered mid-fi. I thought that was high-end stuff I was listening to. My first serious headphone was a Hi-Fi Man HE500. And, I didn't realize how much higher stuff went, and people were referring to headphones like that as mid-fi. And, I thought, well, as good as this is, how much better is the really expensive stuff? And I haven't reached, the pinnacle of hi-fi, but I've listened to some pretty high-end stuff, and it is great. I mean, it's definitely better, but it's not as much better as you would think going by the price. But anyway, that's the point of my video. You can get a very respectable system. Like I said, if you can't find the 9500, but as far as I know, they're still available. You've got the option of the 9600 for about $10 more. And there's a lot of other options depending on where you want to go. And we're starting at $155 here. But say we want to stay under $500 for a DAC amp and headphone. Okay, here's another option. I've had this headphone quite a while. This is the Grotto SR80E. And this sold for $99. It's got a different sound. It's a little more detailed, but a little bit thinner on the bass, but a very respectable headphone. This is no longer available. It's been replaced by the SR80X, which sells for, I think, $119 or $125. But there is the SR60X, which sells for $99. And Grotto actually has, I think, 5 headphones under $299. The 60, the 80, the 125, the 225, and even the 325X, which I've never heard any of those. But those are all under $299 and could be easily squeezed into a $500 system. And this headphone is very respectable in sound. And it gives you as much detail as much more expensive headphones. So, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, just, hearing every detail in the music, these little Grottos, for anywhere from $99 to $299 are going to really etch out every bit of detail in the recording. Another option is Hi-Fi Man, and, well, I'll start with this one. Hi-Fi Man, their headphones are planar magnetic, and they do take a little more power. And this one here, this is the HE400 SE, and this currently sells for $199, and this is an incredible sounding headphone for the price. It does have one drawback. It does need some power. When it's underpowered, it loses some weight to the bass, and the bass isn't quite as tight and quite as punchy, but even this little Hi-Fi Uno does a respectable job with this headphone. I listened to this through this for a while, and even though this is power hungry, this little amp does a respectable job. I'm not going to say it takes this to its limit as far as it can go, but you will get a very decent sound, and you're looking at under $200 for this combination. Okay, Hi-Fi Man also sells just a wired version of the Diva Pro without the built-in, without the Bluetooth, the built-in R2R DAC and power supply and amp. But anyway, the wired version of the Diva Pro, and the Diva Pro to me sounds very near the Sundara, and I think that's available for $159 as a wired version. And even the Sundara, which to me is an incredible headphone, you can now get for $299, and this thing is as detailed as headphones costing much more. There's high-end headphones out there in the thousands that don't have any more detail, especially in the mid-range of the Sundara. This thing, and it's not a bass heavyweight. Some people think the bass is a little bit thin. Some people think the treble's a little bit too hot or a little bit too bright. But overall, it's a very neutral, very well-balanced, respectable headphone that's going to give you sound that, like I said, you know, like the point of my video, it's going to give you audiophile sound, and at $299, pretty easy to squeeze into a $500 system. And then as far as amp DACs, this here is the Hi-Fi Zen DAC. This is the original version that sold for $129. It's been replaced by the Zen DAC 2, which sells for $199, but even more improved than, you know, up from this. This one is balanced. It has a 4.4 millimeter output, and in addition to the 6.3, has enough power for the Hi-Fi Man Sundara, and you know, fairly hard to drive headphones. A really nice sound, very clean. Once again, only a USB input. But at $199 for the DAC, the Zen DAC 2, you could combine this, and this is a DAC and headphone amp, so that leaves you in a $500 system, $299. So something like this and the Hi-Fi Man Sundara, and you've got a really nice system, and at not a huge price. Couple other options. Topping makes some very good equipment in this price range. I have the Topping E30 DAC right here, and this is just a DAC, and it sells for $149, but you can get the L30 amp also from Topping for another $149, and you've got an excellent separate DAC and amp at a total of $300, which leaves you $200 for a headphone, and you can get a very decent headphone for that price and stay under your $500 budget. And the one advantage to this is this does have coax and optical inputs on it also, so you can hook it up to something like a CD player or something like that, where some of the DAC amp combos in this price range don't have that. Topping also makes a combination DAC amp, the DX3 Pro Plus, and that sells for $199. I have not heard that, but I've heard good things about it, and so far I haven't heard anything from Topping that didn't have exceptional clarity and detail, and most of their stuff sounds pretty neutral. Some people describe some of Topping's equipment as being a little bit on the dry side or a little sterile, but Topping strives towards good measurements and really clean sound, and I can recommend everything that I've heard from them. And then another option is, a couple of years ago I reviewed this little, it's only an amp. This is from JDS Labs, and it's called the Atom, and this still sells at $99. Very clean, very detailed amp with I think 1 watt per channel from the headphone output, a very clean, very clear power, and this thing will power just about any planar magnetic headphone or any headphone that I've tried with it. Very, very low noise floor. You will not hear any background noise out of it. This is just an amp, but JDS sells a matching DAC for $109. For $209, you've got a really nice amp DAC combo or stack, and that leaves you almost $300 for a headphone and still stay under the $500 budget. So another option is, I haven't reviewed any of them, but I've heard Sennheiser has some very nice headphones under $300 that could be squeezed into a system like this. And I'm sure there's a lot of other equipment out there in this price range that could get you into an under $500 system. But like I said, you know, you don't even have to spend the $500. Like I said, you could start out with something like this little iFi Uno amp DAC, and something like, you know, the Philips headphones, and for $155, plus, you know, you need your source, which is going to be your computer or your phone or whatever, but you can get some very respectable sound and get a taste of the audiophile world, what recordings really sound like, the way they were meant to sound. So anyway, I hope this video helped you out a little bit. If it did, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and just wanted to mention my YouTube channel is like about 800 views away from hitting 500,000 views, so I'm pretty excited about that. Kind of a milestone. And also check out the Headphone Experience over at Facebook. It's up to 21.9 thousand members and growing at an average of about 20 or 25 members per day. It just keeps getting bigger all the time. And I'm going to try to get back to my full reviews, and the first one's going to be that Hyperdrive 2. I still got my full review of the Topping A90 Discreet right up here, and I got my full review of the Felix Audio, what is that? The Elise, an OTL tube amp. Very nice amp. Love the sound of that thing, especially with high impedance headphones like the ZMF Atrium. And I've got full review yet of some very nice cables from Marcos Custom Cables, and hoping to get that out in a couple of weeks. And I thank all of the companies that have loaned me equipment for your patience. This Bell's palsy thing has set me back about 6 weeks, and trying to get caught up, and I'm also trying to work at the same time, you know. Still doing the lawn care. I'm not doing this time of year, but I'm still doing a lot of landscape jobs and tree trimming, that sort of thing. So this is still, you know, just a part-time hobby. I haven't reached a point I can do this full-time. But anyway, and hopefully I'll recover a little more from the Bell's palsy and speak a little more clearly and get back to more normal on my videos. But anyway, I appreciate all the people, all the viewers that have stuck with me over the last 6 weeks and kept my views up pretty high on my channel, and all the support I've got and all the encouragement. And just want to say thanks for watching my video. I always appreciate it.